Good morning, guys. Welcome in. Welcome, welcome. Welcome in, everybody. How is everybody doing? Good morning, good morning. Insane Nvidia pre-market. We are going to talk about this. A lot of stuff going on. Welcome in. Yes, I'm still under the weather. Unfortunately, my immune system is very bad, but I'm here. We're here every day, no matter what. Welcome in. Welcome, welcome. A lot going on this morning. We're going to talk about what's going on here in the pre-market session. Where is my trading view, first of all? Don't even have trading view open here on the desktop. Let's get that open. What is going on here? What is going on? There you go. Awesome. We're locked in. Yeah. The gains will help you heal faster. Yes, that is absolutely true. Nvidia is going crazy. Okay, this is a insane chart. Okay, this is one of my top watches here in the pre-market session. Is going to be my my Nvidia 192 level. So very big stuff happening here. Okay, so 192 on Nvidia, huge. 190, 192. We're gonna talk about that. We're gonna go over Amazon. Amazon, huge levels this morning. Amazon 225, big pivot. Okay, I've been long Amazon since 221, 220, and we're at the 225 level here. And this is a make or break moment here for our Amazon position, right? Are we gonna clear 225? If we do, big upside in our midst. Okay, so obviously very big levels today. Amazon, Nvidia top watches. It's also in the description of today's pre-market. We're gonna go over some other things too. We'll talk about AMD. We'll go over AMD. We'll go over what's going on here in AMD. A massive level here, AMD. And this is something that we have to understand. The market can just go higher, right? And this is AMD, right? So AMD, previous all-time highs. You didn't want to be long in the previous all-time highs, but hold on a second. Now you can, right? Now we are back above that 227 level. This was actually your classic break and retest long yesterday at 227, previous all-time highs. Look at the long yesterday on AMD. This was the long yesterday AMD. Break, pull back long, maintain, big upside all day. So we're going to talk about AMD today's session. Obviously, one of also our top watches going into our pre-market session here on Thursday. And we're going to go a little bit into our session yesterday in SPY. So I'll just be transparent with you. I'll talk about SPY in a minute. Actually, we'll come back to this in a minute. I want to pause here on SPY because I'll tell you what I thought yesterday was happening on SPY, and I'll tell you what actually ended up happening, right? So we'll discuss what our idea was yesterday, the lower high formation. Hey, hold on a second. Where's the lower high? Because we were right back at all-time highs. So we're going to discuss why the market just invalidated our lower high and is just ripping up higher, right? So obviously market is doing things that we didn't expect yesterday, but we'll talk about what we did yesterday and how we can combat this today's session. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to take a pause here, get a pulse check. How is everybody doing today? Hopefully everybody is in better condition than me. Hopefully I don't sound bad though. You know when someone said, Dre, where do you see the lower high? Well, we don't, right? Now there's no lower high. Now we're just back in a bull trend. So we'll talk about that. Obviously, no lower high anymore. There was a lower high after yesterday, but there is no lower high anymore. This is just simply a bull flag, massive upside move again back in the high. So we'll talk about that. Anyway, let's jump into it. So bear with me today. Big head Brett. Let's just fix that before we get that. Bam. Okay. Should be better now. There you go. Let's get some hydration. Two forms of hydration. Caffeine and water. Right? Tony the Pod Boss, thank you very much. Very kind of you. Thank you. That is very nice of you, Tony. Much appreciated. Rick, I'll talk to you about it. I'll go over what I'm doing here. You can't just short everything and we'll talk in a second. Okay, so earnings reports for today's session. Obviously, Delta DEL up a few percent points in the pre-market session. Strong beat on Delta, and that is actually helping the SPY this morning. Delta obviously doing pretty well. Look at Delta in the pre-market. You're going to take a look at this DEL pre-market, big move up. So this is helping SPY. So Delta, big beat, okay? And this is also going to help other airlines. American Airlines moving in tandem. You have UAL also moving in tandem as well. So airlines, if you are a small cap trader today, airlines should be on your top watch. In fact, we'll go over Delta today here in the pre-market session. Besides that, today's session is all centered around our econ data. Econ data for today's session is Jerome Powell, 8:30, which was about 9 minutes ago. He is speaking right now as we speak. I believe he is speaking right now. So just bear with me as this is happening. Things will change because he is speaking right now. So just be careful. For about 30 minutes, he is on the horn. So be aware of that going into our open to this morning, okay? Besides that, Fed speaker, Fed speaker, Fed speaker, Fed speaker, Fed speaker, Fed speaker. That's what it is today. Fed speakers all across the board today's session, okay? What I want to do is, I don't want to talk about this. I want to talk about our actual charts today. Let's talk about SPY. Let's go over what's going on here in SPY. So yesterday's session, I'll just be transparent with you, okay? I ended up making money yesterday, okay? So I was up about $900 yesterday, which is obviously like, for me, and my account size is not that much because I trade a little bit larger size, but I'll show you my trades, okay? I shorted SPY here, I shorted SPY here, I shorted SPY here, and then yesterday's session, I was just looking back at the charts and I was sweating through every trade, right? I was basically sweating through every single trade yesterday. And the real question was on SPY, why didn't I just go long here, right? Why did I just go long here? Or why didn't I go long above the 671, above the 671 and had a trend-based entry and just literally had a beautiful day yesterday? So for me, I was green yesterday on every trade I took. I took 3 trades. I was green on all 3, but it was against the grain of the market. And this is something that I'm beginning to realize more and more. Not all money is good money. They tell you that, right? They tell you not all money is good money, right? Not all money is good money. And in trading, it's something you begin to realize too. Not all winning trades are good trades. You can be very well executed. Like I executed really well yesterday. I waited for confirmation. I got the best possible unders and shorts. But the idea of shorting yesterday's market, shorting this SPY yesterday, it was not right. Look at the market. Look at the market yesterday. Look at the trend of the day yesterday. The reversions simply were not happening, right? So this is something that you begin to realize more and more as a trader. Not all money is good money, right? Ideas are more important, right? Because obviously execution can be top tier, but usually for most people, the idea will be right, execution was wrong. For me yesterday, the execution was right, but the idea was wrong. It's important when you're trading that you have both your execution and idea in tandem, in sympathy, and they are both right. Because once you have them both right, that's when you have those incredible, beautiful trades. So yesterday's session, I was green, right? I had a green day yesterday, all trades green, but I was not happy with the way I traded, okay? This is something that I think is important we discuss here in the pre-market, because even in the pre-market session, we spoke about what? We spoke about us flipping bias, flipping bullish if we're back above what level? 671. And even though we were above 671, I still was kind of taking little shorts, scalp shorts on the S&P for downside moves. So honestly, not happy with how I traded yesterday. That's just my 2 cents yesterday's session. Now today, that's not important, right? That's why you guys are here. But I think it's important we discuss these things because I was looking back at the trading session this morning and even last night. I was like, you know what could I have done better, right? And I think for you guys, I want to keep everyone in the same page where we should all be accountable, right? This is not very good trading, not top tier trading. Now, what is the market doing today's session? Look at what's happening here today's session. Today's session, we are back above everything. We're back above everything. We're back above all-time highs. We're back above pre-market highs. We're back with everything. Every level we have on the SPY chart, we are back bullish. If you had any grain of bearish mindset yesterday, that occurred in the pre-market, right? Well, today, it really isn't the case. As long as we are above 672.50, we're bullish here, right? So here is our thought process this morning. And again, I'm not saying don't short the market. I'm saying stick with the grain of the market. Stick with the trend. For example, on Tuesday, I shorted and I got a nice move, right? I shorted on Tuesday and got a beautiful move on Tuesday, right? I shorted on Monday, got a beautiful move. I shorted on Friday, got a beautiful move, right? I usually have trend right. But yesterday, we were not right on trend. Today's session, what can we look for? Well, this is simply the most effective way of analyzing SPY this morning is going to be based upon one thing and one thing only. It is, are we back above 672.50? If we are, don't short the market, okay? The market's going to go higher. That's just what it is. If we are back below this level, the market's going lower and short the market. The level is 672.50. And let me get some water because I'm going to lose my voice because I'm already yelling at you guys. It's 8:44 in the morning. We're 14 minutes in. I'm losing my voice. I'm yelling at you guys, but this isn't really important stuff, right? So this is what I'm watching today's session, okay? So, and then someone said, you're always against the grain, right? Not really. On Tuesday, I shorted the market right there, downside. On Monday, I shorted the market right here, downside. On Friday, I shorted the market. Actually, I don't know what I did on Friday. I can't remember what I did in Friday session. But anyway, I do know what I did Monday. I do know what I did Tuesday, right? So we were with the trend, with the grain in the market, both Monday session and Tuesday session, but Wednesday not with the grain in the market, right? So it's important that people, even for you guys, right? We are obviously, a lot of people are short-minded, right? Very short thoughts, right? Just because you didn't have the idea right yesterday doesn't mean you were wrong the whole week. It just means you were wrong yesterday's session, right? That's just what it is. We were just wrong about yesterday's session, yesterday's analysis idea, yesterday's session, but it was okay, right? Because if you were right majority of times, you'll still be fine. Now, today's session, the idea is simply just this. If we are above 672.50, we're bullish. And if we're below this level, we're bearish. Where are we moving to? So if we lose 672.5, I argue that we go back down into yesterday's lows. I don't see anything but room here. Now, I think part of the problem yesterday too was that we had too many levels. For example, between this level here and this level here, there really isn't anything, because look at the action from Friday, the action from Monday, and the action from Tuesday, right? It's been straight up, straight down, straight up, straight down, straight up, straight down, right? So there is logical that we move from this level to this level without many pullbacks. That is just simply what it was. Okay, so this is what I am expecting this morning is if we are above this level, bullish. If we're below this level, back bearish. Okay, so if we lose 672.5, then you could short the market, right? Go with the grain in the market, and we're going back into 69.50. DJ Priceless, thank you very much. That is very kind of you. Much appreciated, DJ Priceless. That is very, very kind of you. Also, big thanks to Hit James as well. 555. That's a good number. That is a good number. Thank you both. All right. And I apologize, guys. Honestly, I am sorry that I wish my voice was better, but I get very enthusiastic and I lose my voice very quickly when I'm sick like this. So this is what the level is in SPY. Okay, it's simply just this right in front of us, right there, 672.5. On the ES chart, the ES chart is 6,800 ES. It's very simple, right? So if you guys recall, on our Tuesday session, we shorted 6,800 downside move, right? This was our short from Tuesday session was really nice, right? Again, we typically go with the gray in the market, but yesterday was just not the case. And there are times where I go against the gray in the market, and those are the days I just don't like. That was yesterday's session. I was just wrong about the market. Now, 6,800 ES was your level of resistance. I did short there as well, but again, we just held it. We held it. We held it. Now we're back above it, right? So today's session here on the ES chart, the question is this. If we are above 6,800, don't short. If below this level, short, right? That's simply what it is today. Where are we moving to? My argument is if we are above this level, we're going back into the pre-market highs here, 68.12, which is actually the after hours high yesterday's session, which conveniently also, I believe, is the current all-time highs. So this pre-market highs here, this pre-market highs right here is 68.12 is the current all-time highs. So right now, if we're back above 6,800, we should in theory move back into 68.12. If we lose 6,800, then we're going back into 67.82. So my expectations this morning is going to be a move here, bullish, right? Or we lose 6,800, downside move, back bearish. So this is what I'm expecting today's session. Either above this level, bullish, below this level, bearish, okay? So that is the ES chart. Moving on, QQQ. On the Qs chart, here on Qs, your levels are very simple, right? So the levels of the session are very simple. So yesterday was very strong on Qs. So this was predominantly caused by the rally from chips. So if you just look at why the market rallied yesterday, it was because you had your Nvidia ripping higher, you had your AMD moving higher, you had your SMH rallying, right? So semis were strong, causing QQQ to be go very aggressively higher, right? So if you are reviewing today here in the Qs, your levels are pretty simple. 608 was your major level resistance yesterday, and today is your demand. So your resistance from yesterday's session, the supply from yesterday's session, has now turned into demand going into this Thursday morning. So if I'm watching for anything today, I'm watching for a pullback to 608, pullback to 606, and that's just simply what it is. Now there is another level here to add on the Qs. It's 610. So 610 is also a nice level. You can see how important it is. You can see it is the highs that Tuesday session. And you can see yesterday, it also became an important level. Look at the high here from that little Wednesday level. You can see Wednesday session around 12:15 in the afternoon. We clearly saw some rejections there. We failed it. We broke above it, retested it, upside move. So yesterday's session, we created a new level, okay? And the new level that was created was 610, and that's the level to watch today's session here on Qs. I think this is perhaps the most important level to watch here this morning is 610. If you're above this level, bullish. If above this level, expect downside back in 608. So my scenarios are pretty simple here. It's either this today, right, on a pullback long, or it's this today on a failure back short, right? So again, what I would say is wait for the market to tell you what it's going to do, right? If you start failing under 610 in the first candle of the session, then don't go long. But if you start turning it to support, then that's your best possible long entry going into today's session, okay? So again, 610, top watch today here on the tech side, okay? Let's move on. I want to go over some tickers today. I want to go over some individual tickers this morning, and I want to go over Nvidia, okay? So Nvidia's chart. On Nvidia, this is one of my top watches pre-market, right? And the reason why it's my top watch pre-market is because it is doing something incredibly beautiful, right? Go to the 1 hour time frame here and you can see here, this is a massive level here. We can see what Nvidia has done day in and day out was basically this. It was your 184, it was your 184, it was your 184, it was your 184. We broke it, we retested it off 184, upside move. We basically stair stepped. Now this morning here on Nvidia, it is another stair step. The next stair step potential here is going to be 190, right? 190, 191 is your next level here. If we can do this today on a pullback long, this is going to be your top watch for longs here, right? If you can stair step again, doing the same thing we did here, but do it over here, this is your top watch for a long entry. So again, watching the break and retest here, 190. If we are above it, bullish. If we below it, back at 184. Okay, so top watch, 190, pullback long. Next chart, AMD. So on the AMD chart, AMD did what it had to do, okay? So at some point, I still think AMD does pull back to 186. This is something that I still think will happen at some point. But it did break the previous all-time highs, right? It's the previous all-time highs on the break and retest was a long yesterday. If you guys recall from our pre-market, we spoke about two levels. We said it's either this or it's either this. Excuse me. So yesterday's session was all about the 5-minute intraday crack over 227, right? So you can see here, the highs produced here Monday the 6th. We then turned it into a break and a retest, upside move. If you look at this chart for a second, there were only a handful of red candles on AMD going into your Wednesday session. You can probably count it on your finger, okay? On your hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, never mind. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 red candles. Okay, there are 18 red candles, and out of how many candles here? Out of how many candles? This is approximately 43 candles. So out of 46 candles here, 18 are red, right? And the most of them are just a little consolidation before the big breakout. And the one red candle you get after 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, after 10 candles is the retest pullback line. You're probably wondering, Brett, why are you counting 5-minute green candles? I'm doing it because look at this beautiful break and retest yesterday at 110 in the afternoon. This was perhaps the best trade of yesterday's session was AMD at 110 in the afternoon. I don't know if anyone traded this. Did anybody trade AMD yesterday? Because this was the best trade, was a break and retest long of 227 at this exact red candle right here. Not that many red candles this session, but the one candle you needed was the one candle that you got. 227 maintained. Big upside move after that level. Obviously, very nice trade yesterday if you took this. Now, I did not, right? I did not trade this. But if you are trading this today's session, what I'd be watching is I would be watching to see, can we get the pullback to our previous level of demand, right? So your level of demand now is simply just the previous all-time highs. So look here for a second, right? 227, previous all-time highs. But where is this level coming from? This level is not coming just from here. It's coming from all over here, right? It's coming all the way from back in March of 2024. So this is a very big level here on AMD. So if I'm watching for anything today here on this chart, it's going to be this. It's going to be the pullback to a demand zone here, to 227 for an upside move, right? And Correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think this is also a fib level. If you run a fib here from highs to lows, it's not perfect. It isn't perfect, but I still like this level, right? So your fib level, fib traders are going to say 231. For me, though, I'm saying 227 as your previous all-time highs here. Very big level on this chart, okay? So that's all it is today here on AMD, right? On the SMH, so here on semiconductors, you saw perhaps the biggest failure and reclaim of 340 ever. If you've ever seen a whim wham, this is what it is right in front of you, okay? You have a big level of demand, we break above it, we fail below, we reclaim it, you get all those shorts who are just basically underwater at this point. They have to stop out, causing the stocks to rally higher. So this was the textbook definition of whim wham, right? Now, this morning here on SMH, it is very simply bullish as long as we are above 340. We do have obviously a level here at 347. That's the previous all-time highs here on SMH. You can see 347, 347, 347. But the level that I'm watching this morning is going to be 340. So 340 as your demand level, and then 347 as your break minus long entry. So this is what I'm watching today's session on SMH is, are we back above 340? If we are, bullish. If we lose this level, then obviously back into a bear sentiment, back into 335 and potentially lower. Right? Remember we said yesterday, we said what? Yesterday's session, our analysis on the SMH was very different. It was this. It was, we are bearish right now because we are under 340, right? And we said, you know what? This is trapping all the bulls for a downside move. But then what happened was we just completely inversed that idea. So I think the most important thing on the SMH is just to be cognizant of the levels in front of us. 340 as your resistance, 335 as your demand, and 347 as your resistance. So these are your three big levels. Now, today's session, obviously, if you go back to today's data, you're going to see how it's flipped. It's flipped to being 340 now is demand, no longer resistance, but it is still a level. So if you are above this 340 level, you're still maintaining bull sentiment. Bullish level, then bearish sentiment back at 335. So that's what I'm watching today's session is, are we above 340? If so, bullish. If we're below 340, then if so, bearish. Okay, very simple thought process here on the SMH, right? So moving on. And guys, by the way, when I tell you guys about the trades that I take, it's because I think you guys enjoy hearing about it too, right? I don't have to if you don't want me to do that, but I like telling you guys the ideas that I'm doing, right? Especially like Amazon, for example. Like I'm long Amazon, right? I enjoy doing it because I think that you guys like it as well, but I can just talk purely levels. It's up to you guys, right? I think it's important that we discuss not only the ideas that we're trading, but also the things that we've traded, right? It helps us, right? We're not going to spend the whole session pre-market talking about ideas from the previous session, but we are going to use it because it does help us create the storybook for what's going on today's session. Now, Amazon is an example. So Amazon, I've been long Amazon since 221, and today's session is make or break, okay? The reason why it's make or break is because 225 is your colossal level of resistance. If you zoom into this chart here, you're going to see that there is a big level here, 225, 225, 225, 225. And this is your make or break. This is your shelf. After a big downside move here, followed by a massive consolidation, which you may consider to be an accumulation at the daily 200 SMA, we now have gotten all the buyers we needed. And the question is, can we get back above this major sell wall? Because we have a very clear sell wall here on Amazon. If we can get back above this major sell wall, then I expect us to go higher back into at least 230, right? Now, this is why I like having a good average here. Because if we can't get above the sell wall, then I exit probably somewhere in the green. I love trading like this on position sizes. Because if you guys remember, I told you guys what I was doing on Amazon before it even happened. Go back to 3 days ago. If you go to 3 days ago on Amazon, we said I plan to take about a 60 to 80K size here on Amazon equity. And what I would do is I would long it back over here with a stop loss under here and target and move back into here and back into here. That's what I'll be doing here on Amazon. Now, today's session, I'm still in this, right? Obviously still in this. And if we can get back above this 225 level, then we're going to rip and rally higher. And I don't have to chase this on day trades. I don't have to chase this on swing trades. I can just hold my initial position. Now, if we fail the sell wall, which is totally possible here, if we fail a sell wall, then I'm probably going to exit around this level here, 221.40, which is slightly in the green for me. So my new level here on Amazon is this wick low right there. You can see these series of wick lows, this wick low here, and this wick low here. If we can do this, I'm still going to hold. I'm looking for either this to hold or this to break out. But the most important thing today is 225. If you are a day trader looking for new entries here, it's got to be back above 225. They can do this today's session. This is your best possible long entry going into our Thursday morning. So above 225, bullish, back in the highs here, but it must do this, right? It must do this. If it doesn't do this, then you know where it's going. The sell wall has hit again, and it's going to go back down there. So we have a good entry here, but it has to break and hold above this level, okay? Simply put 225, big level, okay? And stop is put now here at 221.20. Okay, let's move on. Let's go over Apple. Apple chart. Apple. So Apple, I think, has been very, very choppy. And I was right to say this yesterday. It was the idea of not trading this in between my zones. And I think that the zones are very clear now. Your levels are still the same. 259, 257, and 253. Right? So if you are trading this today's session, it's going to be either back above 259 for an upside move, right? For a breaking news upside move, or it's going to be back below 253 for a downside move. Now, if you want to get frothy, a little spicy in the middle, you can trade in the zone here, but it does require some surgical moves here, some surgical procedures to remain green. You're going to require some surgical procedures. It's very difficult to remain green here. Obviously, you're seeing choppiness, lots of chop up and down. Now, I'm not saying you can't trade this, but I'm saying just be surgical with how you do it. So you can technically trade shorts under 257 for a move back into 253. It's technically valid, right? Apple under 257 is still bearish, but it's going to be a surgical move. Now, I think the real move is going to be back under 253. If we lose this level, then back into 249 and possibly 240, or back above 259 for an upside move back in highs. So very simply, if I'm trading Apple today, the highest conviction areas are going to be back above this level or back below this level for a continuation in either direction. If you want to get frothy, a little spicy, you can look for trades using 257 as your temperature gauge, either above it bullish or below it bearish. Okay, that's what it is here on Apple's chart. Someone said, "Bro, stop neglecting 255." You know what? You're right about that. Actually, 255, I can see that as a level. Spliff, you were right. 255 is actually a level here. That is 100% a level. Look at what Spliff was saying. Right? He's saying this. You could technically trade this under 255. Yeah, you could. Right? Under this level here, you can see here under the consolidation lows of Monday and Tuesday, you can see a low produced here at 255. So I absolutely see what he's saying, right? This is a very, very valid point. You could do this too, right? So technically speaking, you could trade any level you want, right? But how much meat is there going to be? So under 255, you can trade that short, but the downside room is only back into 253, only back into that Friday's lows here, which is the level. So obviously valid, but again, for me personally, my highest conviction zones here are going to be this level here and this level there. But I do agree, 255 is an important level, right? So moving on, let's go over to the other charts. Let's go over Meta. Okay, Meta chart. I think Rav traded Meta long yesterday, and I think for good reason, because as long as Meta's holding 710, I think it's maintaining structure here. So you can see it did bounce off this 692 level. It formed a higher low here at 705, and now we formed a new low here at 710. So as long as we're above 710, we're doing this, and we're back bullish. So Meta 710 bullish, below 710 bearish. Very simple level here in Meta. I don't have any analysis besides this. This is the only analysis I have here on Meta. Is going to be simply just about 710. Above it, bullish, or below it, back bearish. Okay, that's what it is today here on the Meta chart. Let's move on, guys. Let's go over a few more charts. Palantir. On the Palantir chart, you can see obviously 172. Look at this. I didn't even see this. Did we forget to go over Palantir on Friday? Look at this Palantir 172. Palantir is still bullish as long as it holds 172. And look what Palantir did. It pulled back right to 172. 172 was your bull bear pivot. It maintained this. Look at this. I have been drawing these things out for you guys because I think it's important, even for myself, right? Even for myself. You look at this chart, right? And this will help you guys too. Okay, look at this chart for a second. Go back to Palantir. What just happened here? Go back to Palantir for a second. You look at this chart and you want to short it, right? So let's just say, what is going on here with TradingView? What is going on here? So you want to go short on Palantir as it's breaking down under Friday's lows, right? So a very big level here on Friday's lows. You can see you want to go short right now, and because you see it selling off super aggressively. So everyone wants to buy puts in these red candles. And then all of a sudden you open your Palantir chart and a sentence like this is staring at you in your face. This is actually sometimes good to see, because when you have your level plotted and an idea behind your level, i.e. don't short into this level, you know not to do stupid things, right? So for you guys as traders, this may help you, right? You could put don't long here, don't short there, right? Now, obviously, once you get to a certain point, you don't have to do that anymore. But I mean, look at this. It's very hard to want to short this right now when you have a sentence like that staring at you dead in the face. So obviously 172 maintained, ripped up higher. And now here this morning on Palantir, what are we doing? Well, we're back in the range, right? The range on Palantir is 188 and 174, 172, right? So this is the range here. The range is the range high, range low, range high, range low. I don't plan to get involved here on Palantir if we are in the middle of this range, right? Because when you are in the middle of this range, there is no bias. We don't know what's going to happen here, right? We're simply just a consolidation high, a consolidation low at the middle of those two highs, or middle of the high and the low. So don't trade Palantir here. In my opinion, wait for it either to pop in a supply, look for shorts, or go back into demand and look for longs. That's all it is today here on Palantir. Okay, last ticker. Let's do one last ticker. I'm gonna do one last one. I'm gonna do Tesla, because you didn't do Tesla. Tesla's a big one, obviously. So Tesla, there's a reason why I kind of left Tesla off the docket this morning, right? And sometimes I know I forget things, but it's also intentional. Okay, now Tesla is just doing nothing. Tesla is in the middle of the range as well. It reminds me of Palantir, okay? If you were to chart Tesla in the most simple way possible, I removed a level there. The level I'll add back in a second, but the most simple way of trading Tesla today is understanding two things. It's understanding that there is demand below here at 416, right? Which is that Friday's lows, and also the last Friday, 2 weeks ago's lows, and then last week's lows Friday. So obviously big level here at 416. But it is also understanding that there is supply above at this 445, right? So your channel is quite literally where? Is right here. Is 445 and 416. That's all it is here on Tesla. Now, obviously, there are some small levels you can draw in here, but for me, I don't need to draw every level on the chart, because if I don't plan to trade off the level, then why do I even have a level? So obviously, I can come into today's session, I could draw 433 as a level here, right? It's obviously a level. You can see 433, 433, 433, 433, but I don't plan to trade out this level. It's not going to be a profit-taking spot. It's not going to be a level I trade off of. It's not going to be a level I create ideas off of. So there's no intention behind this level. Therefore, on my chart, there is no level there, right? So I think if you guys want a simple and effective way to reduce levels in your chart, it is only chart the levels that you plan to trade off of. And for me, Tesla 433 is not one of them. In fact, this is the middle of the range here, and anything in the midpoint of this range is simply just consolidation. So again, range high, range low. Obviously, if we can break the highs here above 445, upside, or below lows, downside. So that's what I'm seeing today's session here, Tesla. I know it's not what you guys wanted, but that's what it is here on this chart. Guys, that is it for me. I'm going to pop off here. Have a happy and beautiful trading session. Trade safe, trade smart, do the right thing. And I'll see you guys all for live trading. Bye, guys.